Welcome to the Little Wins Podcast, where this episode isn't complete hell. Ladies and gentlemen, they finally did it. They finally gave us an episode that wasn't complete trash.
Would you believe that a show all about content creators, they actually made some content?
Holy shit.
Ladies and gentlemen,
we got them. I think there's two distinct, just to give a little intro to this, I think there's two distinct kind of stories in this episode. There's the fake wedding, and then there's Larry and Nikita, who, again, I have to be reminded that they're not actually in the hype house. They're just friends of the hype house, and I keep forgetting that. So I beg the question, why are they here?
It's a fair point, and it's kind of stupid on behalf of the hype house because Nikita is probably the most popular and influential one. Like, she has her own Netflix show and her own brand, and like has a Lamborghini, and then
she's driving around in at the start.
Yeah, 100%. And then it's just like, we can't even remember the fucking other, like, yeah, well, you think about it. This is a show about the hype house, and she's not in the hype house. So why is she?
And she's a major player.
She's a main character.
So why the fuck is she? It's I don't even know who you are.
Yeah,
it's
legit.
Thomas, can I be in the hype house? I don't even know who you are. So I think we should just jump straight into it, my dude. I think we should.
Yeah, we've got a lot to cover.
Here's the rough structure I think we should do, because I have a lot to say, and I feel like you will as well. I think we should roughly introduce the initial steps of the marriage and the proposal and the intro to that. Then I think we should talk about Larry back in Compton, where he's from. Then I think we should talk about the Vinny drama, and then we'll get into the wedding itself, and then the intervention at the end.
Okay.
With Larry. I think that's
exactly how the show was structured.
Exactly. Yes.
Too easy.
Hey, if it ain't broke, I mean, it's kind of broke.
It's very broke.
But, you know, I don't think structure is the first thing. Do you know what I'm disappointed though? They only had one big colourful titles in this episode.
No, they had a couple.
Did they?
Yeah, I remember they had the skating title. They had the Compton title. They had.
Oh, they did? Wow, I'm just that tone deaf to it now.
And then they had another title. What did they have? The wedding. I think they had a wedding title.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, well, let's get into the first. The episode introduces that Alex is going to host a fake wedding for Caviar. And his main motivation for this is because his last video was down about 100,000 views. And naturally, he just has to get back in the game by hosting a fake wedding with Caviar.
Which all good boyfriends think about, you know. Obviously. Putting their content before their private lives. So
do you remember when Caviar was like, hey, like, I feel like our relationship is really, the line is blurring between content and our relationship. And Alex is like, yeah, we got to keep it really defined. So you want to get fake married?
It's come full circle. So congrats, you won. Because remember, I was on Alex's side, and now I look like a bit of a goofhead, don't I? So yeah, you're completely right. It's got out of hand. It's honestly fucked up. I couldn't even. Yeah, fuck me.
There was a few times when we were watching it, I just heard you go like, ooh.
Yeah, I was cringing pretty hard.
I feel so bad for her, man, because it's like they did like a little montage of this isn't the first time he's done like a fake proposal, or like it showed like some TikToks of him like, you know, with like what's the lolly with the
ring pop.
That's it. You know, doing like that, or like tying his shoe or whatever. And like it's.
And he gets a lot of content. Don't get me wrong. If it ain't broke, why fucking fix it? So, but you got to think like, haha, for us, the viewer, oh, very funny, you know, fake proposal. Meanwhile, Caviar's probably like really getting sick and tired of being played. And it's a big thing. Like, you can tell like in this show, she has been through some tough times and all this stuff. The obvious daddy issues, which she highlights, and she's like, you know, I want the stability in life. You know, I want that, you know, safeness in my life. And I see that with Alex, and it's just like, I want this so bad. And Alex is like, haha, video, boy.
I agree.
Oh, shut up.
Turned it on. Yeah. No, I completely agree though, because like Caviar said like, oh, like I grew up really quick just with my background. Like I didn't have much of a dad, so I had to look after my mum and my sisters. And Alex is just like still a kid. So it's like, damn, so you two are, because she's a bit older as well. You know, she's a.
Is she?
I think she's 22. Alex is 20. I think she's 22.
Nice.
I could be wrong. Yeah, I know, right? High five, Alex.
Yeah, well.
I think
also no high five, Alex.
No, we're taking away the high five because not even a fist bump, not even an elbow bump.
Yeah.
In these
He's down
COVID
bad.
time.
He is down real bad.
He's down real bad. It's all his fault. Like I think as well, and I noted this down that it's kind of a losing game to always have to one up yourself for content.
Yeah.
He's at the end of the day now, he has to go to literally emotionally manipulating his girlfriend for content.
Which is tragic. Like that is so fucking mentally brutal on Caviar.
It's a bit dystopian.
Like, what's above now a wedding? Like we have a child and it's just like.
We pretend to have a child for a day. We go on a honeymoon.
Yeah, it's a losing it's an uphill losing battle. And my gosh. Is he losing?
He's really losing because
I want to say I was going to wait till the end. Well, I'll wait till the end to say my comment.
Save it.
I will. I'll save it.
We're just introducing this loosely. We're in no rush.
But that was so he's talking about that, and basically Alex goes off with the boys who are skating. Woo! And all the boys are kind of like, "Hey, this isn't really that cool, but we'll go along with it for you." And he's like, "It's a fake wedding. Get over yourself. It's a fake wedding." And they're like, okay.
They're like, oh, but doesn't like Caviar, whose real name is Cova, by the way, but we're sticking with Caviar. And they're like, oh, but doesn't Caviar like kind of want that because she's kind of openly said it? He's like, yeah, but it's fake. It's fine. And he's like, I'm sure she's fine with it. It's like, cunt, you haven't even asked her how she feels about this shit.
And then we cut to Caviar having a one-on-one with Mia, our Lord and Savior.
Who's a real one.
Yeah, and she's like, wow, what do you... And then Mia's asking the hard questions that we want to answer. It's like, how do you feel about this? And then that's when Caviar opened about her private life, her history, and why she wants this, and poking all the buttons. And it's just so, honestly, like tragic and hilarious. The juxtaposition.
It is.
Like Alex is so hell-bent on, this is only content, get over yourself, it's fake. And Caviar's like, yeah, but...
You know I want this.
Yeah.
And I'm actually hurt and uncomfortable in this situation. Yeah. And he hasn't even asked her how she feels. You see like the fake proposal as well that he does.
Yeah.
And it's just like, because he's done it before and you can see that she's just a little like confused of like, at first, like, is this real or fake?
Yeah.
And the fact that if he ever does do it, to be honest, I'm going to be real. I think Caviar deserves better. But, if Alex ever does it for real, to think that at first she's probably going to be confused and be like, is this for real? And like,
yeah, that's the gray area that I don't get. It's the boy who cried wolf. Like they're going to keep doing this. And then when it finally comes around, like Caviar's just like, I don't know if it's real. Like how far will you go? And like,
he's like, there are no cameras. He proposes. They have an actual ceremony. They spend months preparing for it. It's in her dream place. It's beautiful. She's ready for it. She gets
even have a child together.
They get, before marriage, apparently. Yeah. And because that much time has gone because there's so much intricate planning. They get to the aisle and the minister is just the boys from the hype house. You've been pranked.
The minister is fucking, what's his fucking face? Tweety Bird guy. Scotty and the Ninjas. He fucking pulls off the bishop head. It's Scotty. The ninjas are all the bridesmaids and shit. It's like, you're on prank patrol. Get fucked.
They shove her in a van.
Yeah. That's pretty funny.
That would actually be great. Bring back, it would be like a reboot of Prank Patrol.
Actually, that'd be a good crossover. Prank
Scotty's
Patrol
like,
House.
He's like older and just like a dropout. And he's just like, got no other avenues for income. He just seems really not into it.
Well, that's the thing. Like
Scotty and the Prank Patrol.
Everything's getting rebooted. Plus, I'd love to see how Scotty's doing now. Because he was like a big deal on ABC3.
He
was.
On
ABC3, boy?
I was, yeah.
Yeah.
And pre-Foxtel.
Pre-Foxtel. Yeah.
Which I was a big fan of Scotty and the Ninjas when it first came out.
Fuck, I want to be on that show so bad.
Yeah, same.
But not be the pranks. Be the one pranking, not prank.
A girl I worked with on set last, she was on Prank Patrol. She like showed off on her Instagram how like Scotty signed a thing for her. I'm like, dude, I want to...
Peak. You've just peaked.
She's peaked.
What was the prank like? Just be quick. Like, is she getting pranked?
I don't remember. I'll find out for next episode.
Okay, thank you.
And watch me completely forget about it by the next episode.
That is hilarious. All right, we got to move along.
We got to move to Larry, straight out of Compton.
Okay, so this got me...
Crazy motherfucker named Larry.
Hey. Yeah, you done.
Hey,
well done.
See? Hey, now, that's bars.
Now, what I thought. Okay, it was actually pretty good. I thought this was kind of interesting. Larry going back to Compton, going his home routes. I got massive Moonlight vibes, but I wish...
it just because you saw her black and gay and...
Yeah, but I wish they went they did talk about like, it was obviously tragic and sad about, you know, his family. His mum and dad didn't really get on board.
His dad was in jail. His mum kicked him out because he was gay.
And then when his dad got out of jail, he sent him to his dad to try and straighten him out. And I was like, fuck, that's rough.
That is really, that's
but his
fucked.
grandmother accepted him. I was like, respect. But like, I wish they had something good and they didn't keep going. They could have delved deep, like, how was high school? How was, you know, how was your transition from, like, I don't even know how he got famous is the thing. But then they just kind of got sidetracked again. And then he was like, do you guys even have Spotify when you were kids? I was like, bruh, what the fuck?
Like, I completely agree. Like, I felt like they were onto something really interesting because I didn't like Larry. And then they show these like somewhat humanizing aspects of him. He was a black and a gay kid who was rejected by his mother because, and this is obviously a subject I don't know much about from what I've heard, whether it's from media or even friends, is that generally speaking, there still seems to be some homophobia in especially the black community, the hip hop community, especially. And obviously that's changing, which is great. But clearly by his mum kicking him out and just having this really traumatic experience, I'm like, damn, I want to know more about that. You seem more like a human. And then we just skip over that.
Yeah. Like that's what it was. They were on the verge of greatness. All right. They were so close and they tapped into it a little bit, but there was so much more potential. So it's a shame, but yeah, like you said, it humanized him, and I kind of felt for him. Like when he told the story, it was so sad.
I'm like, that's so fucked up.
And now like you said, you can't relate to it, but you want to try and understand that. So, which I think was a bit of a shame. They moved on it pretty quickly, but it was like it was well played too. You know, like they brought that in with Nikita as well. Yeah, so it's like talking about his history and then how Nikita's kind of like.
She's appropriating it.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into in depth at the end.
Yeah.
But I just to bring in and I actually thought that was actually quite a good way of introducing it.
Yeah.
It's like Larry has come from this pretty rough background. He's a black gay kid. So he's seen some fucked up shit. Now, obviously Nikita has also probably been through some trauma being trans, for example, right? But that does not give her an excuse to appropriate black culture because she feels like it. So I think that, and that's what the show really brings up is he says, oh, I'm having a lot of my fan base who, for example, love seeing a popular, successful young black gay kid especially, being successful and being himself. And I'm having a lot of these people question why I hang out with mainly Nikita, who is accused of whitewashing. And for those who don't know what whitewashing is.
Because obviously I know what it is, but please explain for those that don't.
For those who don't know what whitewashing is, but Connor, you obviously know what whitewashing is.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I'm not explaining it right now, but I'd rather you do it.
Yeah, and I'm not explaining it for you. I'm explaining it for the three people listening.
Thanks. Hey, Fabian. Hey, Jasmine. Hey, Samara.
No, we're going to get to one more person. But whitewashing essentially is white people, not whitewashing, fucking blackfishing. I've been saying the wrong. Whitewashing's a separate issue. So people are saying Larry is whitewashing. So they're saying that he's acting more white and hanging around more white people and not utilizing or accepting or recognizing his ethnicity or background. Blackfishing is what they're accusing Nikita of. Blackfishing, which I'm explaining to those who you already know.
Yeah, I love that documentary. It was a really good documentary.
The one about the orca?
Yeah.
Yes.
Tillikum?
Yeah.
That was tragic.
That was
I can't believe Nikita's trying to be Tillikum. I'm sorry, but...
Nikita goes to SeaWorld, tries to break into SeaWorld every day.
This might be too far.
Uh-oh.
But...
Am I going to censor this too?
You might, but... I'm sorry.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ. It's fine.
All right.
So,
but I digress because this is actually a very serious topic.
Blackfishing is not about the documentary or killer whales.
Yeah.
Blackfishing is essentially where, generally speaking, or pretty much all the time, a Caucasian or a white person will utilize aspects of black culture for their own benefit or their aesthetic. So, for example, in Nikita's case, it could be how you talk, the clothes you wear, purposefully darkening your skin. A more relevant example of this would be Ariana Grande's kind of shift in her music. And also when she kind of started to darken her skin a bit darker, and people started a big conversation around if she was blackfishing And, that was probably one of the more relevant times I could think about it. So for those who don't know, blackfishing is, as I said, white people utilizing black culture as an aesthetic or for their own quote unquote benefit. And we'll get into that towards the end, because we'll use this very subtle transition of orcas and killer whales to talk about Vinny, who has
wanting to kill everyone in the hype house.
That was so smooth. Wasn't that great?
Yeah.
That was better than what mine was going to be, actually.
So Vinny's back and he's madder than ever. So he is, it was actually quite funny how they showed this. Like they're all the hype house are hanging out, playing a bit of pool, chilling out, having fun. And then cross cut to fucking Vinny, who's just like eyes glued to the screen playing Valorant. And it's just like,
of all the games, bro, Valorant.
I know.
Like, no hate to Valorant players, but all hate to Valorant players.
You still playing that?
Oh, so you're shit at CS:GO and Overwatch? Good on you.
Well played. Nice. It was actually kind of fun. I didn't mind Valorant.
It's all right. I think I didn't play it for that long. I think I had it for a week and I was like, eh.
True.
I was like,
well, yeah, it kind of fizzled out real quick. But we digress. Anyway, so
can we just become a gaming podcast now?
We could actually.
Overwatch is brilliant.
5-star.
5-star.
So Overwatch is brilliant. Don't hate shit on that. Anyway, so Vinny is mad. He finally comes out of his cave, and then is it Michael?
Yeah, Michael.
Okay, Michael is like, calls him out. He's like, oh, like that typical like, oh, you finally come out of your room. Like, oh, okay. And he's like, what do you got wrong with that, bro? Like, I have to Twitch and make a living and shit like that. And he goes back and forth and like, oh, you're meant to make content with us for the hype house. And then Vinny's like, I got my own shit. I got a model. I got a fucking Twitch. I got a TikTok. And so you're like, okay.
Why are you here?
Yeah. And it's very awkward because everyone's in the room and Vinny's just like popping off.
Yeah.
Oh, and then what's the thing? He's like, Michael's like,
that's
you're
right.
always mad, bro. And he's like, no, I'm not. And then
they cut to a montage of like Vinny walking around being like, dude, I'm so fucking mad. I'm so pissed. And they're just cutting to him and everyone's like, what are you mad about? I'm just mad, bro.
I am beyond pissed.
I will drop kick a newborn baby if someone dares talk to me right now.
And then so Vinny looked kind of dumb. But then the whole fiasco, I think at the end of the day, as much as everyone loves Vinny and they're kind of being neutral, I've sided with Michael. Because Michael's like, hey, you're in the hype house, so you need to do hype house content. You need to do hype house TikToks. Like, if you want a Twitch stream, all right, if that is your dream, Twitch stream and modeling, then you go do that, but don't do it here. This is a hype house, like, refuge, and we got to help each other. So, do you feel
I completely
that?
agree.
Yeah.
I think as well, like, Thomas, the de facto leader of the hype house, his crotch must really be hurting from the fence he's sitting on, just going right. Because he was just like, oh, you're both right, because Vinny has to do his own thing because Vinny brought his audience to the hype house, but he also gets the hype house's audience, which I don't actually agree with. I think the hype house benefits more from Vinny than Vinny does from the hype house.
I agree.
And I think that then he's like, oh, but Michael, you're right as well because Vinny has to do stuff with us. So it's like, dude, you're a champion fence sitter. But I think that Vinny is like, okay, bro, we get it. You want to Twitch stream, do that for like 4 to 5 hours a day. Like that is a lot. That's a fair amount, and you have to make so much content. You do. But you got to make sure that some of that is for hype. You're in a mansion with all these other people. You have to contribute some way in the hype house. And they're not even asking much. A TikTok or two, maybe every couple days.
Like a 30-second TikTok. And he said, like, I can't do it. And then how rude was this?
Oh,
when
yeah.
he's like, I do a thirst trap. It's so hard to do a thirst trap. And like, what's the point of doing a thirst trap in the hype house? What if I do it with Alex to take his shirt off? And Alex is like,
Thomas, yeah,
is not as ripped and shredded as set Vinny.
As Vinny.
It's like, ouch. Like, out of nowhere, this argument between Michael and Vinny, and then Vinny just calls out fucking Thomas. It's just like, yeah, what if I do a thirst trap with Thomas? Thomas is like, what the fuck? Like,
he's like,
I can't do it with side, bro.
I can't be with Thomas. That'd be fucking weird because like looking at him just makes me physically ill. Like even just the thought of doing anything remotely shirtless, I can't.
He's just like crying cat meme that has like the thumbs up.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, bro, back you up,
yeah,
man.
Sick, bro. I was on the fence, but now I'm kind of leaning towards Michael. And it shows how fucking mean and rude he is.
He's such a dick.
He's so bad. And like, this is what I was surprised about with Thomas though, because he's bringing the peace, but who's bringing in the rent? Who is paying for the rent?
That's a great point.
I know, but they didn't get mentioned this
Who
today.
the fuck is bringing in the rent? Because for once, actually, Thomas wasn't harping on this episode about how everyone needs to do the sponsors.
So they must be up to their dues.
They must be doing something somewhat. Like, I still am so confused how they make all this money, to be honest.
$80K a month.
That's fucking ridiculous.
So let's say there's 8 of them, because also some of them aren't in the hype house.
More and more keep appearing.
Yeah, we saw a guy with a moth on his face, so that was sick.
Who was
Moth
that
Gideon,
dude?
I think.
I want to know what's up with the moth on his face.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy. But then, so that means each one of them have to bring in 10K.
Roughly.
At least.
So AUD, that's, let's say around, let's be generous, like 15K.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot
of fucking money.
It's a lot of money. And I know there's a lot of them and they all have revenue, not avenue. They all have revenue and all that jazz. But it was just, as well, I think as well, like, we'll just tag on as well, like, before, like, the wedding, Vinny and Thomas had a one-on-one with Vinny and was like, they're working out together because they're like,
bros.
After Vinny called out Thomas on having a disgusting dad bod.
Actual. And then Thomas comes out and fucking benches more than him.
He benched more
That's
than him.
savage.
Thomas might not be like as lean or as shredded as Vinny, but he's got some size to him.
Yeah.
I think he's a handsome young man. And I think Vinny, that was completely unacceptable.
Uncalled for.
Because Thomas, he might not have the definition like you, but he's got some size. And he could win, unlike you, Vinny, he could win a boxing match probably.
100%. I think he actually did that to prove a point now thinking about it. He went out there to be like, yeah, I'll lift your weight and do it easy because, yeah, I'm not fucking a scrawny little loser like you. I can still drop your ass.
Why don't you go cry to some 12-year-olds on Valorant, you little fuckhead.
Fucking yeah.
But anyway, even though I wish that's what he said, instead he was just like, hey, man, you good? And like, you're at the start of your career and everyone's trying to bring you down, man. Like, I get it. It's all good. But you just the whole point of this is just have fun.
Yeah.
And I found that incredibly ironic because no one seems to be having fun.
A lot of drama.
And not a lot of fun. Like, it just doesn't seem like a sustainable, like, content creator households, as have shown just in the past, are shown not to be sustainable because this whole culture of content and constantly making content and blurring the lines between your personality and your personal life and what you show online is just, it's not sustainable. It's
doomed to fail from the start.
Yeah, it's all just, it disappears so quick. But I think we should move on to Vinny and we should talk to
segue into blurring the lines. Shout out to Blurred Lines.
Speaking of wait, Vinny, more like Vinny was a groomsman at the wedding.
He was. Well done.
What a great transition that was.
Thanks.
Wow, that was so natural. That was great.
Great. So the wedding? Is that what we're actually getting into?
That's what I was trying to get.
It was such a good transition. I actually got lost within the transition.
Because you were like, wow, this transition's got like a 3-act structure. There was like a character arc. So the wedding, the wedding itself.
Just off the bat, very awkward.
Yeah, it was so cringy.
Very
And
cringy
I know Alex was like, dude, it's like a shit show and I love it. It's such great content. And I'm like, go fuck yourself, man.
So picture this for our women audience, all right? Which are in a plethora, all right?
A plethora.
Yeah. So
majority are female, actually, at this point.
Actually, there you go. So picture this. You're with, the one that you want, your hubby, all right?
Your puppy?
Your hubby.
Oh.
So you're standing at the aisle, all right? You walk down the aisle, you stand at the end, and then the groomsman's already there, but they're bringing down...
So I don't know if you're aware how weddings work.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They did it backwards.
Even though we have filmed weddings, we...
Yeah, because you would have been there. Anyway... here's what it was. Okay, you've walked down the aisle.
Yep.
Sorry, okay. And you're facing your husband.
Yeah.
And you're looking right at a DSLR.
Yeah.
He had it right up in the face and was cutting between her and then what was going on in the crowd, plus the fake bishop or whatever.
Yeah.
And just no connection. And Caviar played along with this game. And then you could just see Alex was only in it for the fucking content.
Yeah. And it was so sad. I had that too of he's just he's just standing behind this DSLR. And even when they're doing some bridegroom wedding photos at the end, Alex is like, is the lighting right? Is it good? And it's the thumbnail.
That hit me in the feels.
That hit me as well. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
That's so fucked.
So you're going for your wedding kiss, which is kind of big, a big deal. And even in a fake wedding, I'm sure it's a big deal. But at least just get one off where it doesn't have to be in the video. But no, I was like, all right, we'll go for the wedding kiss now. And then she's like going in for it, looking at him, puppy dog eyes. And he's just like, yeah, does the lighting look good, bro? Just like,
good.
oh my God.
Do I look good?
Yeah.
It's just, and he didn't even try like what everyone was wearing. Like everyone was just taking the piss out of it. But no, Alex as well and no one really, except for Mia and even Nikita, surprisingly, was like, oh, how's Caviar feeling about this?
Yeah.
She doesn't seem that comfortable. All the boys, like one dude's taking a piss off to the side.
And then
Michael, that dickhead.
The fucking Connor guy who's the bishop guy.
I
call him a bishop, but he's dressed in a bishop outfit.
Yeah.
He fucking body slams the table.
Yeah, as you
like
do.
Sick. Okay.
It's just really sad. And I said this at the start. It's a bit dystopian to see like this wedding be completely a piss take and it's just for a 5-minute video. And it's just kind of really sad because it just shows that the lines between these guys' relationship and content are so completely blurred. We have no idea where it starts and where it ends because I think Alex is just so consumed by content, views, that he just sees Caviar. Oh, you views. You are views.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a girlfriend anymore. You're
content. Oh, relationship. Can I film it? No. What's the point? Why are we doing this? It's just
because then and then they after the wedding when all smoke and mirrors are down or whatever, it's just them two on the balcony and a whole other camera crew filming it. But it doesn't matter.
But apart from that, it's just
so
them two.
this is when it's kind of them two, and you kind of get to see, all right, what did we think of the wedding? Because she was like, "What did you think of the wedding?" And he's like, "Yeah, it was so fun and good content."
And she's trying to like hint to him like, "Oh no, like it seemed like you kind of hated it." And he's like, "No, it was great content. It was so good."
And then she didn't even ask her what she thought.
No, he's like, "Yeah, it was great. It was so good. Got so much good content." Can't just ask her.
Yeah.
Hey, and he didn't even ask her before they did this. Hey, would you be okay with this? And she would have maybe had a good, honest chat. And even at this one point after it's all done where he could have been like, "Oh, how was the day for you?" He's like, "Nah, I'm just going to focus on me."
Because he knows the answer. That's the thing.
I reckon he does too.
He does. And then she goes, all right, well, like, this was fun today, but like, do you see this happening in another couple years? We've been dating for 3 years. Like, do you see this happening? And then he just like fucking U-turns the conversation. Tries to go like, I'm so young. Like, I understand. Yeah, he's really young and like, he's really, like he said, he's immature. It's a massive decision. But like, if you've been dating her for 3 years and you are,
you have I think that they both, look, I think on paper, they both have valid arguments of Caviar wants to have that sort of commitment and she wants to have that security and, she wants to kind of settle down with him. That's completely valid. And then, and Alex saying, hey, I don't feel like I'm ready at that point in time. I feel like I'm still a kid. I'm not mature enough. On paper, that's valid. But dude, he's not treating the whole situation right. He's not considering how she feels because she brought up a great point of, he thinks that it's all up to him of like, oh, I decide when we get married. No, because like, she's like, I can still decide to leave. I can still decide to be happy. It doesn't have to be with him. And I'm like, you're completely right. Yeah, that's completely valid. She isn't just waiting around for you. For the end of the day, she's not happy. I think it's fully valid and entitled for her if she wants to leave.
I think that's pretty much nail on the head. Like 100%. She's trying to hint to him like, hey, like I'm kind of ready for this next step. And he's going, well, I'm not ready.
And I just don't want to think about it.
Hello, ding dongs. Like that means maybe you're not ready. This isn't a fully committed relationship because she can't really keep on going, pretending and putting up your pranks and dealing with you. If you just think like, oh, it'll come around in, 3-4 years time. I don't want to put a timeline on it. I don't want to disappoint you. Like that is the cop-out answer.
Yeah.
And that's what brings me what the start I said, I reckon by the end of the season, Alex and Caviar break up and I reckon Vinny leaves the hype house. Bold calls, or putting it out there.
I think that's valid.
Sportsbet was putting good odds on that. So
Sportsbet putting good odds on that. Yeah. See, because we don't follow these people outside really of this show because we want to try and not keep the suspense going.
Yeah.
Like, we keep it pretty limited just because we want to just see purely what the show is displaying to us. But I think that I can see that. I kind of hope Sportsbet are right.
Yeah.
I hope that I do kind of hope that they either Alex is like, fuck, I'm being really immature. I need to step up my game and spend more time with you out of camera, or B, they split up, because I kind of think Caviar deserves better.
And that's the only thing that can happen. Character-wise, like in a story, like for anything to happen.
The limited amount of story there is here.
By the end of this, either Caviar has to make a hard decision of, all right, I don't think this is meant to work, or Alex goes, I am blurring the lines too much. I need to separate this and work. If they just keep on going, it's just going to be a recycled rinse and repeat of what's already been shown. They've already fought like 3 times or whatever. Apparently they were like long distance and split up or whatever. So it's just like development-wise, something needs to happen.
That's true. And it's just sad. I feel really bad for her, man. Oh, she just wants to like, she seems great at separating like, okay, what's reality and what's social media? What's fake? She seems great at that. She's got it down to a T, and she has a value set. She's like, at the end of the day, I value more myself and my relationships than my follower. Like, you know, and she's arguably, as we've mentioned, she's one of the more famous ones. And it's just sad to see her like this, man. It's just, I hope our girl Caviar gets some justice for Caviar. And I think we should then transition to.
I was going to say, the overall situation is
transition to Connor's next point.
And then problematic, like Nikita.
Problematic, like this transition's even better.
Thank you.
So we're transitioning to the final scene of this.
Blackfish. Found on Netflix. Again.
I don't think it's on Netflix.
Oh, did they take it off?
Oh no, it must be on Netflix. Great documentary, by the way. Watch Blackfish if you haven't.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, definitely you got to watch it.
You got to watch Blackfish. It's a really happy, family-friendly documentary about a very cheery orca.
Very happy orca. You know,
he lives at SeaWorld.
He loves being in captivity. He loves eating people's feet, and that doesn't matter.
And dragging them down to the bottom of a pool where the air pressure is unbearable. Yeah. It's a very
get the family around.
It's a very nice, you know, and totally not about how fucked up the SeaWorld franchise is and the absolute disregard for these animals' natural habitats, and you know, but fish go clap clap, and that funny.
That is funny for us humans.
That is very funny. So
that's basically the whole Nikita problem. Glad we discussed that.
Yeah, that was it. Okay, cool. Let's wrap
Sign
it up.
this off.
So I think here's my initial thought. So Larry makes a hard decision, which I do respect him for, which is he's like, okay, I got to talk to Nikita, and I got to essentially give her an ultimatum of, hey, look. And he deals with it. I do agree. He deals with problems very different to Nikita. He just addresses it head on. Like he's like, okay, look, you've been accused of blackfishing. I agree. And you need to acknowledge this and stop this behavior, or essentially I can't associate with you. Because at the end of the day, I got to acknowledge my background, my ethnicity. And I have to acknowledge that. And, you know, people have scrutinized me and criticized me for hanging out with you, which is hard for him because like, oh, this is a friend who's had my back a lot and who has really helped me grow. But I have to be honest and be like, look, you're doing something that is really disrespectful to me and, you know, other like communities as well. And, you know, you just got to acknowledge this. And we didn't see her response.
It's going to be a cliffhanger for next episode.
They better fucking address it because this is such a relevant topic. I know people who have appropriated black culture for, and I love rap and hip hop. You know, I love, you know, that sort of music and that scene. A huge majority of the artists I listen to are black. But, you know, just because of that, it doesn't give me an excuse to talk a different way or dress a different way or try and, you know, pretend to be someone I'm not. Like, you know, I love that. Like, there's nothing wrong with appreciating, you know, other cultures or products of other cultures, whether it be art, music, film, whatever. The problem comes when you're like, oh, you know, I'm not black, but I'm going to pretend to be black. I'm just going to not have the bad things that come with that, like discrimination or, you know, having these really big racial injustices happen to me. Because at the end of the day, I'm white. You know, it's a pretty big issue that the show again has kind of skipped over. And it's like, oh, really interesting talking point. Like, let's ignore that. It's not important.
I agree.
Oh, you did
I got it.
We got to get on the mug.
Well, we went down a somber lane, but I think it's very necessary because it is a pretty hard topic. And I think the episode did do it well. Like we said.
I think it did pretty well.
Larry went back home to show the importance of family. Okay. And he says, I'm very family orientated. They always have my back. or this, well, not like his mom and dad, but other people in his life.
His grandma and
so family's a big part. And at the end of the day, Nikita was nice to him and accepted him and stuff like that. But like you said, he's going to go back to his roots of his family, you know, his
background,
his background, his home, and his fan base. Because a lot of his fan base are going to be, you know, like, you know, African American. They're going to be homosexuals that look to him as like an icon, a role model. And if he turns around and goes, "No, I'm picking Nikita," like that's game over for him.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really responsible, harsh decision, but I think like it's very responsible.
He's kind of dealing with it pretty well.
He's kind of taking responsibility for his actions.
And you know what? I respect that.
Yeah. So Larry is developing into a better person.
And speaking of better people, our final great transition into better, even better little wins for the day.
Exactly.
That was so smooth. Holy fuck.
We're getting real good at these transitions.
We're getting great at these transitions. Holy shit. We're nailing these.
Did I go first last time or did you?
I think I did. I think I went first.
Okay, so I guess it's my fault.
Yeah, actually, no. I did go first because I remember I had to edit out about 5 minutes of you going, "Oh, fuck, I had a little win. Oh, fuck, what was it? Oh, shit, it was so good." I cut out like a solid 5 minutes.
I can't even remember what I landed on.
I remember I told Samara like, "Oh, yeah, the podcast is only like 35 minutes or something." She's like, "Oh, really? I thought it was longer." I was like, "No, I cut out like 5 minutes."
We'll fix it in post. Iconic line.
Iconic line.
But I do have one. I do have a little win. Basically, with a good swell in, there's been some good surf. And I've also got a new board that I'm borrowing from my girlfriend. And so it's a little bit tougher. And I went out for a surf on the weekend with Dan and the swell was pretty big. I'm telling you, these waves were big. And I was being a little bitch, mainly because I didn't want to break the board or anything like that. And the surf was pretty big and I was just being like a wuss. And then Dan just like G'd me up. He's like, "What do you got to lose, man? Just like get out there and like you won't learn if you don't try it. Like it's better to fail and learn or whatever than like not try." And I just got so G'd up that like this massive wave came and I was just so pumped on drilling that I just went for it. And Dan was like, he caught a wave and so he was coming back. And then like I fucking got on this wave and just like rode it down and just fucking really got amongst it. Like was doing the whole like hand thing on the wave and I like even cut in and cut out. And Dan saw that all and he was like cheering and I was just like, fuck yeah, like it was special for me to like do that. And like after that I was pretty confident when, you know, I could surf another wave. But also for Dan to see that too, like have a friend that like helped you out and then you just see it like
that's
come full
epic.
circle. Yeah,
Dude,
that
shout
was
out
like
to Dan.
Yeah, legit. So conquering fears here on the little wins, but yeah, that was pretty special.
Very
for me.
good. I think mine actually is also surfing.
Oh, here we go.
My little win is so fun fact. I have a terrifying fear of the ocean. I am fucking scared of it. It's just the anxious feeling I get, especially in water where I can't touch the bottom. Where it's my like anxious mind just like it's like shark. Something can see you can't see it. There, fuck. Like it's just my brain. But I was like, fuck it. I bought a surfboard ages ago. I want to at least like try and get out there. And I went out with you and a literal Olympic swimmer. Who knew that you guys would paddle faster and stronger than me? Who would have guessed? And but what I was happy with is that I got out into that deep water. It was cloudy. The waves were a bit choppy. They weren't the smallest, they weren't huge, but they were, reasonable.
I'll vouch for George. Like Tigger and I and George went out and yeah, Tig's Olympian, all that stuff. And I'm or average swimmer or whatever.
You're not average.
And let me tell you, like these conditions were very rough. It was big swell. Storm was coming through, really windy. Like the waves, we were caught in like 3 different rips. It was insane. The waves were going all over the shop. And I just looked back at George and George is just like trying to paddle.
I was just exhausted.
And I saw him back to you. I'm like, "Are you all right, man? You got to keep pushing through." And you're like, "Fuck, man. How do you do this?" But yeah, dude, credits to you, honestly.
But my little win was just that I got out there. I did get a couple waves. I stood up a little bit, like for like a couple seconds, but like I did love the atmosphere and like there were parts where I did calm down. Like, you were great at like, just saying like, "Am I doing all right?" And like, you guys kept me going. kept me pumped. And like, even when I got exhausted, I was like, nah, I still want to stay out here. I still want to just give it a go, you know, and just try and, you know, just, you know, get quiet that anxious voice in my head. And, you know, I did. And at the end of the day, don't regret it. Love to try it again, you know, and that was just a little win for me of like, hey, you went out into some water that scares the shit out of you. You got some all right waves and, you know, you got to, you know, hang out with two athletes who can kind of paddle a bit further than you, but you know what?
You got a long way to go, but as they say, you know, sucking at something is one step closer to being kind of good at something.
And as we've established, we are excellent at sucking on this podcast.
Yeah.
We suck so much, dude. So much.
But hopefully we're getting better. And look, the theme of this episode maybe is fears, you know?
It's fears.
Conquering fears, you know?
Whether it's the fears of having an entire group criticize you for hanging out with a friend and having to confront that person about a very difficult topic, or having to be afraid of confronting your significant other, of them being an absolute dickhead, or even the fear of maybe a little sharky biting your foot, you know?
Here on the Little Wins podcast, we like to talk about that and we like to get to the bottom of it.
We do.
Just like the end of this podcast.
Oh,
wow.
This has been a podcast full of excellent transitions.
Oh, that was awful.
That was great. That was perfect. I think this
but
is.
Yeah, I think that was really good. A lot of content.
So.
This one's a little bit longer, but there was a lot of content.
Yeah, it's
finally.
5 or so minutes longer, which I think is good.
And actually, just before we go, we're halfway.
We're
finally halfway through this fucking torture.
Episode 4 of 8 done. But we're going to do all 8.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
We'll see it out. Don't worry.
Don't worry. Samara, Jasmine, Dan, Fabian, you better be setting this.
We'll see it out to the end. And with that said, we'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.